All right, so today is a very strange day. Today is May the 13th, 2025. And this video is not going to be a reaction, this is a document. I am recording this specifically for my children. Now, this is public, so you as an audience can potentially learn from my experience to some extent. Maybe you won't, I don't know, but it is primarily meant for my kids. So kids, today, as you know, we all went to the home where your grandfather is, my father, and he has dementia. So he's been living there for approximately 6 months, more or less. His dementia state is very advanced. He still is verbal, vaguely, but he's starting to have all of the typical symptoms of very late stages. He walks hunched over. He's clearly absent-minded. He doesn't remember anybody. He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know who he is, most likely. And he seems to be starting to develop problems with swallowing. So when we have those sort of basic levels of functions, it usually means that the end might be near. So what I want to talk about today is where I stand with all of this. It was my decision to put him in a home. It was my decision to confine him in this place where they're gonna pump him full of medication, as everybody insists on calling it. It isn't. It is not medication. It's sedatives. It's essentially keeping the person as docile as possible. Now, there's a very good reason why anybody would want to do that. So let's start with this premise. The problem with dementia is very different from what my understanding of the stereotype about dementia is. Meaning, the stereotype more or less goes as follows. When you are old, your children are sick of you and they put you into a home and throw away the key. Because they secretly hate you, essentially. I don't know that this is even vaguely accurate. It is a very difficult decision one makes, and there's a few reasons that are fairly obvious as to why one makes such a decision, like in my situation. The individual in question, the individual with dementia, my father this would be, isn't himself anymore. He doesn't know anything. There is no hard drive upstairs, so no information is recorded, no information can be accessed meaningfully, or some vague information that's completely wrong, incorrect clusters, that sort of thing. So, despite the fact that I do not know the definition of the word soul, this looks like a man who is a husk without a soul. So is that still a man? Is that still my father? I do not know. He's in the body of my father, I suppose. So that's one thing. And the second thing is the very high level of discomfort that an individual with this condition that is completely untreated, once again using the word treatment very liberally, who is not sedated, is nigh on impossible. This individual takes over 100% of the attention of everybody around them all the time. There's just no alternative, because if they are not consistently monitored, they're going to do crazy things such as relieving themselves at random places, destroying every piece of equipment you have, messing with the central electrical system of the house. You kids know this, and you had to take a substantial amount of time to recover because, as you also know, we kept it in our home for about 2 years, which was pretty much torture for yourselves, but especially for your mother, to whom effectively I owe an apology for this. Sorry. I'm not sure there's a whole lot I control about this, but maybe I should have been more present. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, at some point we decided to look that the symptoms were so severe and it started to feel genuinely dangerous having this individual around. So I immediately got him to a physician to diagnose him. The diagnosis was completed. everything was done properly, etc. And so we got, medicines that we were supposed to use and everything like that. Nothing seemed to make a difference at home. Whatever the case may be, we started looking into finding him a home. So I was traveling all around the country in which I live, going, far north, far south, far west, far east, etc., to try and find a home for him. And it was very, very difficult, but we eventually did. Is this the home I would have picked? It isn't. I would prefer something else. But this individual is completely not self-sufficient, and he is a problem for everybody around. So it had to be, I had to accept the condition, the situation. His entire pension is completely swallowed up by the cost of his monthly stay. And then on top of it, there's the extra costs, which I pay for from my own pocket. I'm not going to go into details about the numbers. It doesn't matter, really. So he is now looked after. But in these 6 months that he's lived there, he has deteriorated severely. And it certainly feels like the sedatives are not helping, but it could very well be coincidence. I do not know. So today we went to visit him. It was very evident that he had motor skill issues, swallowing issues, didn't recognize anybody, was lamenting, feeling cold all the time, even though he was very well covered. All sorts of things. We went there. My intent was, I imagined it as a somewhat normal event. We went there for his birthday. The 13th of May is his birthday. He would be 71 today. He is 71 today. Is he? I don't know. He sort of is. Anyway, so we went there, and I expected it would be some sort of very, very simple, basic birthday thing. But he didn't recognize what a birthday is. So that didn't happen. So we just hung out with him upstairs on a private balcony, so to speak. We all consumed the cake that your mother made for him. We lit a candle that he didn't notice. We blew off a candle in a funny way, and he didn't notice that either. And then we concluded this. There was nothing to say. Nothing was being said from him. Nothing was being said from us. The little kids were obviously scared of the situation for many reasons, or upset in some other way. And it ended. It ended very, very quickly. We made it. We were there, I think, 30 minutes, maybe. Not even. I'm not sure. I wasn't paying attention. So this is the premise, right? So why am I talking about this? Why do I want to talk about this? Because I have issues with the situation myself, with my conscience, if you will. So I have essentially relegated a man to a life in imprisonment, essentially, right? And the reason why I've done it is because otherwise he would destroy my life and yours. And we managed to get him out. I managed to get him out. I'm going to keep using the first person, even though, of course, other people were involved. It's not stolen valor. It's just because I want to take responsibility for this. So I got him out just in time before the situation became even more untenable than it arguably already was. And now he's there. And I recall vividly the day in which I dropped him off. I drove him there without his knowledge of where we were going. I dropped him off without his knowledge of what we were doing. I mean, assuming him having knowledge of anything is even possible. Okay? At the time, he would have for a very, very short period of time. And then I escaped in order for the professionals at the home to be able to control him and ease him in. Then we got several reports after, right? And they were telling us that no medicines were working, all sorts of stuff was happening, that he was doing, like disturbing the other patients and everything like that. So they had to increase his medicine. I talked to the neurologist who had diagnosed him at first. She increased the dose, etc. So I don't mean to be accusatory or anything like that. I don't mean for this to come across as accusatory. I think it's understandable, but I suspect that he's been administered higher doses than what he's allowed, that sort of thing, just to keep him calm, because his body is still relatively young, right? So it works more or less properly. He's relatively strong, etc. But the man that we saw today was very weak indeed. Very weak indeed. So the point is, I did all of this. I mean, of course, nature is doing its thing, fine. But I made all of these decisions. Now, I've never had a good relationship with my father as a general thing. I did not know him. There was very little that him and I ever did together. Much to my loss. Arguably to his. I don't know. I'm his only child. His wife is dead. They've lived... that would be my mother. There was no second woman or anything. He's now, completely and catastrophically alone. It's difficult to call this individual human, right? But he is my father. So it's very peculiar when you're sending somebody to a very slow, arguably painless, I suppose, but very slow, protracted death. The level of responsibility that one feels for this. I suspect it's probably somewhat similar to being part of a jury and being part of of a process sentencing somebody as guilty of something. Maybe something serious, so they end up in jail forever. That sort of thing. Yeah. So... it's basically I'm a little bit in turmoil is what I'm saying here. Now, no part of me wants to change anything that I've chosen. My decision was wise, my decision was correct. It might be morally dubious to some. And you can keep your judgment, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. The only alternative would be to take him back. I have no idea how this will be possible. This is not possible. Maybe one day this will happen to me. And you need to be aware that I'm giving you open license to deal with me as you see fit. Not that I will have a choice, but I'm giving you the license right now. And perhaps I will disagree with you at that time. Perhaps I would disagree with how you would deal with me at the time, right now. But in the end of the day, you have a life worth living, and I will not at that point, just like my father doesn't have a life worth living. This is, again, a controversial topic. I appreciate that. It's not like anybody's doing anything illegal or anything untoward here, right? It's just, like I said, potentially morally dubious. I don't know. But this individual has no opportunities, no chances of growth, no improvement, no development, nothing. This individual is just wilting away, just slowly. Time heals all, they say, and it does, because you forget these things. You essentially, out of sight, out of mind, right? You stop thinking about it. But yeah, I very much think that today was the last time you saw him. He's the last photo you took of him, even though you never got to know him very well, let alone having a report with him, because he was already in such a condition at the time when you met him. One day, if there is a afterlife or something at the pearly gates, this is something I'm going to have to atone for. Maybe. I don't know. I made a Machiavellian decision, I suppose. which is my life and your life before his. I suppose posterity may judge whether it was the right decision or not.